It's Module 2. Welcome, and well done for surviving the first virtual year of business. We're sure that you're becoming addicted to the fast-paced world of entrepreneurship, and we hope that you are excited about what's going to happen next. Here's a quick reminder of some small steps you can take that will make a big difference in your game. Set aside 10 minutes to watch our module videos as you move forward to the next module and quests. Now that we have all the admin out of the way, let's turn our attention to the game. Here's a recap of what happened in the last module. You now have first year of business behind you. That's because one completed game module is equal to 1 year of business in the real world. In Module 1, you started building the business's structure. You also explored funding options, met your mentors, hired your executive team, and recruited a board. You thought hard about the type of product you would like to develop, and based on this, chose an industry you want to take part in out of EdTech, Health Tech, Food Tech, and FinTech. Why not use this module's classroom session to reflect back on everything you've learned and experienced in the game so far? Here are some questions you can ask to get the conversation going. How did you choose your avatar? Did you make your selection because of what you have in common, like gender or your hometown? Or because you think the same way about doing business and entrepreneurship? Which industry did you choose and why? What excites you about the game? What have you enjoyed the most so far? What have you named your business? Why? How do you think a company's name affects its brand and presence? What did you think of the executive recruitment exercise? What sources of funding did you find and how did you choose it? What structure did you choose for your company? A private company or sole proprietor? Explain why you chose this. Encourage everyone to discuss the answers. You will ensure that concepts land in everyone's mind and you get a solid grasp of them. Now let's have a look at what's happening in this module of gameplay. Here are some skills and concepts you will pick up as you proceed through the game. What's in the gaming world in Module 2? Recruiting a team to build your product, which will be built a little later in the game. Learning about how BBBBEE works. Understanding the software development lifecycle. Learning more about testing strategies. And finding out about the lean startup model and operating costs. Now let's take a look at how you can make sure you understand these concepts. As we've said, this is the time you start to build your products. To do this, you'll need to recruit developers and engineers. You got a taste of what recruitment is all about in the last module. Although at that stage, activities were focused on selecting the right executive team. This time around, you will work with your CTOs to find people with the right skills to build your product. To do this, you'll need to learn more about what back-end and front-end developers do. While you are recruiting your teams, you also need to decide how you're going to manage a concept known as opportunity cost. This refers to the fact that very skilled, highly qualified people might be best for the job. But they're also going to cost more than people with fewer qualifications. Think about this by asking yourself if you are willing to trade money for skill. It's not easy to find an answer to this question. That's why there's an entire branch of economics devoted to it, known as labor economics. Right, now that the resources are in place, the fun begins. It's time to start building. By the end of the game, you will have developed your own mobile app with a minimum number of features. It's important to remember that the more features it has, the more attractive the product will be to your target market. You should also think about how intelligent products are developed and what resources they need. This is a great moment to start thinking about two key concepts: the Agile Approach and the Waterfall Approach. What do these concepts mean to you? Do you understand them? Do you think they're good or bad? What might use an Agile approach? And who might prefer a Waterfall approach? There's a term that might help you understand these concepts better. So write it in your notebook and make sure you learn it. Iterative. The Agile approach is when a person like a software developer develops a product and releases it to the market. Then they listen to what their customers say about it, especially the bad stuff. They use this information to build a new improved version of the product. Then let the market test the new version, and the cycle begins again. The Waterfall approach is completely different. Here the person does the very best to make sure that the product is perfect in every way the first time around. This approach is used by people like civil engineers who design roads and bridges. After all, it's not like you're going to get a second chance to build a bridge. If it's not right from the beginning, you are putting a whole lot of people at risk. This example demonstrates the difference between physical assets, which you can touch and feel, and digital assets, which live online. These are the other terms you should get to know. An Agile approach is probably the best way to go because you are developing a digital asset. There's a whole lot of testing involved before you can take a product to market. And there's even more testing ahead. You need to test your product before you start selling it. So for instance, if you've decided to launch a health tech product, you'll need to travel through the game to a hospital where it can be tried out by doctors and patients. On the other hand, if you're working in EdTech, you'll have to travel to a school where the teachers will give it a go. Whatever you do at this point will stay with you for the rest of the game. You won't be able to fix the fallout from any poor decisions around your product. And even if you put every effort into your marketing campaign in the next module, you might be able to generate the kind of revenue you would have been able to achieve if you had an outstanding product. Speaking of marketing, that's what we'll be talking about in the next module. You will be learning how to develop a strategy and will be allocated a budget so that you can run an effective campaign for your target market. You might not understand these terms just yet, but this is not a problem. You'll soon learn about everything you need to know. In the meantime, you can chat with your parents and siblings to get some ideas about what these terms mean. And of course, we'll discuss them further in the next module. Until then, good luck and enjoy. Teacher tips. Set aside 10 minutes every week to watch our latest videos. This is where you'll find most of the ideas for your classroom activities, as well as other helpful tips to pass on to help your learners get the most out of the game. Schedule sessions with your learners to discuss what's going on in the challenge and practice classroom activities that will help deepen their understanding of the game's content. The activity gives you a fantastic chance to prepare them for what's going to happen next. Don't skip this, because it makes learning experiential and creates connections with the material. It also helps align understanding with behaviors and competencies. Create a correlation with other teachers whose subjects are reflected in the game. Subjects like economics, maths literacy, EMS, mathematics, technology, computer science, IT, and language skills. You can set up this entrepreneurship club by using the Spaces function on our gaming network and meet in real life once a week in the staff room or over lunch. Point out areas where they might be able to give insight, like talking about the Agile Manifesto or the Waterfall Approach, which we'll be talking about later on, and give them a heads up to let them know that learners may approach them with questions about these topics in this module. Friday is a good day to hold these meetings. Chat with your IT department to make sure that all firewalls have been removed so that your learners can access the game during breaks. Use your classroom time to give learners a heads up about the material they will encounter during the modules of gameplay. The associated subject need not be explained to learners, but please keep it in mind and share with other teachers at your school so that they can incorporate it in their teaching activities. Bonus tip: form a club with other teachers in these subject areas, advising them to spend a few minutes in class for each module to discuss their progress in these areas for the next 5 modules and talk through the issues that arise.